Hello everyone, it's Old Guardian here. In this Hearthstone video I'm going to take a look at the best decks in Sunken City before the upcoming buffs. I hope there are buffs coming soon. Ixar said in his Ask Me Anything that buffs are being prepared, but we don't have any details yet, so I'm really hoping that we get them tomorrow, or at latest in 1 week from now. But anyway, up until then, these are the best decks that you can play and climb all the way to Legend. There are basically 5 real meta decks at the moment, 5 decks that are a notch above everything else. But I was able to find a couple of others that have a positive win rate, have win rate above 50%, that are able to climb, even though it might be a little bit slower. So coming in at number 9 is the Naga Ping Mage. Yeah. Combination of Nagas and then Wildfire, Magister Dawngrasp, Reckless Apprentice, Mordresh Fire Eye. It's a pretty strong combination. You just flood the board sometimes, you do crazy things, play almost your entire deck in just a couple of turns, and then if that doesn't kill the opponent, then your hero power and the burst from Mordresh will eventually get there. So yeah, Naga Ping Mage. And coming in at number 8 is one of the more promising decks in the meta, but it's not played a whole lot, so we don't have a lot of data on this. I mean, Burn Shaman. Burn Shaman is still a strong archetype. It actually looks like it might be favored against Aggro Demon Hunter, but there's not enough data to really say for sure, especially considering this list in particular. The other Burn Shaman lists are a little bit weaker, and overall Burn Shaman performance against Aggro Demon Hunter is 49-51, but this list looks like this is just that little bit better, so that it could be favored. And it's also good against Ramp Druid, but there's a bit of a problem. In that Burn Shaman is unfavored against all sorts of paladins, and I mean there's Control Paladins, there's Handbuff Paladins, there's Mech Paladins, and no matter what kind of paladins, you're still in trouble. You're also unfavored against Control Warriors and against Quest Hunters, and that's a bit much to bear. But other than that, vQTwvwSuwASywQTaoQUA is trying to single-handedly rescue Shaman, and it's doing a very good job in this Burn Shaman list, especially against all of those Aggro Demon Hunters. But yeah, still maybe not the top choice for climbing, because quite polarized matchups, but there's something to this deck that you could try. And coming in at number 7 is Ramp Druid. Ramp Druid has also had better days, but, well, it is what it is. Ramp Druid, you get your Wild Growth, you get your Guff, your Oracle of Elune, board full of Naga Giants maybe on the board, and boom, suddenly life feels much better. And yeah, Ramp Druid always has a chance. It's especially strong against control decks, it's especially weak against aggro decks. The Chinese Heal Druid that was running Vandar and then trying to just use a bunch of big dragons, cheap those up, win games like that, also Kazakhstan's win condition. Alright, that doesn't seem to be the optimal choice after all. It's still around, it's still rocking like 51% win rates, and this one is like 52%, so clearly a superior approach to playing Ramp Druid with this one. So this is as good as Ramp Druid gets right now. Not my top recommendation, but it's playable. And kind of same applies to Control Paladin. The big problem with Control Paladin is that it's like Control Warrior, except that it's worse in everything. So why wouldn't you just play Control Warrior instead of playing Control Paladin? The age-old question. Anyway, Control Paladin is doing its best. Acolyte of Pain has been, and it's funny that Acolyte of Pain has made a return to Control Paladin. Yeah, Pyromancers, Acolyte of Pain, Equality, Pyro Equality, real blast from the past with this one, except that the win condition is just use your Carriel and press the button sometimes until Mr. Smite is big, and then Guardian's Grace and Smite, and boom, pow, things explode. Yeah, that sort of works sometimes. Another playable deck, we're talking already like 53% win rate or something, but just weaker than Control Warrior. Speaking of which, now we get to the top 5, now we get to the actual good climbing decks. And these 5 decks are clearly a notch above those others, and those are above all the other decks that are below 50% win rate. But Control Warrior, still a fine deck, the best counter by far against Aggro Demon Hunter, but of course problem with Control Warrior is that then other decks are trying to prey on this one. Decks like Mech Paladins and Ramp Druids and Handbuff Paladins, and those are popular too. Control Paladin, the Kazakhstan approach is clearly superior to the charge approach. You can also do some really crazy swing turns sometimes because you have From the Depths and Surf Inleaf Sea Guide, so you just make everything cheap and then grab those back into your hand. Nelly can also just win games on its own. And the Golok Ravager build. The Golok Ravager build seems to be the optimal way to build Contra Warrior. That means Amalgams of the Deep, Finley Sea Guide, Mutanus the Devourer. A bunch of Murlocs that can be drawn with that one. A fun little addition to the archetype. And coming in at number 4 is Quest Hunter. Quest Hunter still has its upsides. It still has some weaknesses as well. Aggro Demon Hunter, Handbuff Paladin. Handbuff Paladin has become more popular, so that has been pushing Quest Hunter down a little bit. But other than that, not much innovation going on with Quest Hunter. The main question is, okay, do I put 2 explosive traps or 1? Do I put 2 mark shots or 1? Something like that. That's the extent of innovation when it comes to this archetype at the moment. If you like to play that Machine Gun Priest, Machine Gun Hunter, then this would be the archetype. And coming in at number 3 is Mech Paladin. I actually had real difficulty this time figuring out which one is number 3 and which one is number 2. Because Mech Paladin and Handbuff Paladin, they are so evenly matched that I just don't really know. Like, looking at the individual deck lists, the performance of this specific Mech Paladin list looks to be a little bit better than the number 2 Handbuff Paladin list. But overall, archetype level, Handbuff Paladin is performing better than Mech Paladin. So how much of that is that, okay, there are lots of various lists around, of course, so the bad Handbuff Paladin is better than a bad Mech Paladin? How much of that is that the sample size of a single deck is much smaller than the sample size of an entire archetype? So, yeah, I just cannot reliably say which one is number 3 and which one is number 2, but I do know number 3 and number 2 are Mech Paladin and Handbuff Paladin. Mech Paladin, the more mechy one of these two, just endless threats. It just keeps going and pushing on with those threats and wears you down. Whereas the Handbuff Paladin can be a little bit more direct sometimes, because there's a little bit more potential for really big minions hitting you in the face. And also Handbuff Paladin is currently leading in the competition of how many legendary cards can you fit into a deck. And the answer of Handbuff Paladin is yes. And yeah, there's quite a few legendary cards in this one. Twinfin Fintwin is an addition that seems to be pretty good, whereas the Pack Mule seems pretty weak, so I wouldn't put Pack Mules into this one. There's a bunch of variants around this really. High Road 4 Dragon looks like it's a good card in this, whereas Cornelius Rome looks like that one is a bad card. I'm not completely happy with this list either, because Sidon the Scarlet actually looks quite weak. I don't think you need Sidon the Scarlet necessarily for this archetype. You could replace it with a second Catacomb card, for example. Hey, even get rid of a legendary from here. But other than that, yeah, just buffing up your stuff, and then you have a deck that uses Lightforce Carriel, and a deck that uses Lightforce Carriel cannot be bad. Yeah, that's just how you roll. However, when it comes to the best deck in the game, there is very little doubt. Actually, there is no doubt whatsoever. There's absolutely no doubt that the best deck in the game is Aggro Demon Hunter. It's super common, people love to play it, and it just kills people. Wings of Hate seems to be a better card than Rustred Viper, but your pocket meta may differ. That's basically the tech slot in this deck. You could put in any kind of tech card there, even like a silence tech card or something if you really want to, but no major teching, and just using Wings of Hate as another 1-drop seems to be the optimal approach to this archetype. And it just goes and boom, and then everything is destroyed. And that's how it rolls. So those are top 9 best decks in the game at the moment. The bottom 4 of those, slightly above 50%. The top 5, clearly a notch above, so if you really want to climb faster, then I would recommend picking a deck from the top 5, and probably just going with Aggro Demon Hunter. And I really hope that we get those buffs soon, because I don't know if I'm going to be able to make more meta reports before we do, because there doesn't seem to be a whole lot happening. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the content, please click the like button, subscribe to my channel, and check out my Twitch channel.